Alright, today's video we have got a twid. Just all this other information is not really that important in my opinion at the moment because most of it's trash. But the important part is we're getting a future sandbox tuning. Some things here we already knew about, but there's some cool things here that I actually do like. So, we're going to start with Warlock. New passive trait, 10% bonus to passive grenade energy regeneration. 5% additive bonus to grenade damage. Benefit halved in PvP, so 2.5% then. So I guess that's just Warlocks in general will have 10% increased grenade regeneration and 5% additive damage bonus. That's intriguing, so it adds on top. We've got General. The following Warlock constructs now count as grenades for stats and perks. I still believe half of these should be tied to class ability because of what they are, but Bungie wants to tie them all to grenades, so I'm not surprised. Ionic Sentry, Helion, Bleak Watcher, Child of the Old Gods, and Arc Soul are all going to be connected to the grenade stat. Truthfully, Arc Soul, Child of the Old Gods, and Helion should all be tied to class ability, and then Bleak Watcher and Ionic Sentry should be tied to grenade. It literally makes sense to me, but Bungie for you, what do you expect? Void, Chaos Accelerant now grants 2 grenade charges. That's crazy. Scatter Grenade, Charge Grenade now creates 4 more Seekers, so that's going to make it more consistent to kill with, I'm assuming. That's going to be crazy. Increase Charge Seeker damage versus combatants by 25%. Improve Charge Seeker tracking versus combatants. Increased Charge Seeker lifetime. Intriguing. So Scatter Grenades might be cracked again. That's kind of scary. Axiom Bolt, Charge Grenade now detonates twice. That's crazy. Increased Charge Projectile damage versus combatants by 25%. Reduce projectile speed when tracking enemy players by 40%. Okay, I don't know why that is, because it's so slow. It's so slow. Like, the only way you get hit by this grenade is if you're just not paying attention, or you're standing on top of it when they throw. Which, if you're standing on top of it when they throw, of course it's going to hit you. This ain't going to affect it. So all this affects is when it's tracking you when you run away, it's going to be 40% slower to get you. So this is a stupid nerf. It makes no sense because, dude, I haven't had an Axiom Bolt hit me in years, and no one has. Other than, like, newer players or people just get lost in shooting people that don't pay attention. Or, again, it gets thrown right on you. That's why people stopped using it and they go to other grenades. Because, sadly, they're just trash. So this will be cool of a buff, but the nerf is going to hurt it enough. I don't think the buff's going to matter. We'll see, though, but I could be right, could be wrong, you never know, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Vortex Grenade now repeatedly pulls enemies into it when charged. That's crazy. Pull against players is reduced over time. This is actually kind of cool because that was like the biggest issue of this thing, is it pulls you, but if you're on the edge, you can get out of it, but if you're in the center, you're kind of screwed. So now it means if you're in the center, you're even more screwed, but if you're on the edge, you're even more screwed too, potentially. So this is going to be intriguing. This could be the new broken meta for Vortex. Again, these are all on Warlock, I'm pretty sure. Since it says Warlock, I'm pretty sure none of these buffs are going to be anything other than Warlock, and that's specifically for the aspect that lets you charge up the grenades, so it's kind of crazy. Spike Grenade now charges into handheld Supernova. I think that's dumb. They should have made it where if you charge Spike Grenade, it has like a massive area of effect, like a huge area. That'd been kind of cool. Just saying. They missed out a really good opportunity there to make a pretty dope looking Spike Grenade. Suppressor Grenade now charges into handheld Supernova. See, that's really dumb because Suppressor Grenade's kind of unique. They could have literally just made it where it does more damage and causes a bigger explosion or a longer suppression or something, and I don't know why they did it. This kind of looks like Bungie's like, okay, we'll buff these, but then let's the other ones, we don't know how to buff them, so we're just going to get rid of them, basically. Because turning them into handheld Supernova is getting rid of them, in a sense. Handheld Supernova is good, but kind of sucks. Void Wall Grenade now changes into handheld Supernova. Again, another one that was just dumb. They could have made Void Wall a massive wall. Like, just a massive wall on the ground. Instead of a wall, just a pit. Just a giant circle of death. That'd been cool. But, unfortunately, no. Bungie decided to make it Supernova. And again, Magnetic Grenade is also handheld Supernova. So now you got 4 grenades that do handheld Supernova. Which is completely pointless. So, what the fuck, Bungie? I get creativity is a little low at Bungie's headquarters right now, but you're telling me you couldn't even think about just making a Spike Grenade massively bigger, Suppressor Grenade massively bigger, Void Wall Grenade massively bigger? Like, it's a basic concept, but at least it would have worked. You know what I mean? So, or Suppressor Grenade, bigger explosive radius for suppression, longer suppression or something, right? They could have definitely done something with that, so kind of sad. Stasis Glacial Harvest, Stasis Shard creation no longer has a cooldown in PvE. That's kind of cool. Titan Stasis, Howl of the Storm now grants 2 melee charges. That's crazy because that's already the most broken build in the game. One of the most broken melees in the game with this. People use it all the time in hard-earned content for PvP and PvE, so that's crazy. Changed Stasis Crystal spawn pattern and added 4 more crystals. Flip me, that's still crazy. They were literally afraid of Shatter Dive is why they took away a crystal. Lowered its damage and took away a crystal, and now they're going to add 4 crystals to Titan? Like, what? That still blows my mind. Now slows enemy players. Sorry, instead of freezing them. I'm dying here, my voice is going bad. That's awesome. Because the biggest issue was it was still the only ability that freezed. Warlock ability now. I mean, technically, Warlock's the last one, but yeah. I'm just saying, Bungie, maybe Warlock should slow instead of freezing. Just saying. Cryoclasm, increased fragment slots from 2 to 3. That's cool. That's useful. Reduced long slide cooldown from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. Tectonic Harvest, Stasis Shard creation no longer has a cooldown in PvE. Truthfully, I think they should just redo it. All the different aspects that have to do with creation of shards, they should just redo them and make it where stasis shards just naturally appear. I think that's how it should work, is if you're on stasis effect and stuff, they automatically can create shards, and then if you add on top of that, that harvest will make something better or do something with them. I don't know. They should definitely look into that, making it a lot better. I think it already does something extra, but it should be more, if that makes sense. Void, Unbreakable, reduce grenade energy, drain speed when holding shield. That's kind of cracked. Maybe. We'll see. Reduce forward movement slowdown when the shield is hit by an attack. That's kind of cool. Increased fragment slots from 2 to 3. Okay. Blast now disorients enemies for a short time. Okay, that's going to be cracked. Bastion no longer increases cooldown time in PvE. So they're finally separating PvP from PvE. That's pretty crazy. At the same time, Bastion's still broken in PvP, so people still use it like crazy. Hunter, new passive trait, increased passive movement speed bonus. This is now equivalent to the old tier 10 mobility. Okay, first off, hallelujah. It sucks this is a passive trait in all definitions of passive trait, because literally Warlocks are getting grenade increase, a slight damage increase, and regeneration speed. That's 10%, which is huge. So kind of sucks that Hunter's passive trait is mobility. But at the same time, holy fuck do I feel slow on a Hunter. I have not felt so slow on a Hunter in my life. Hallelujah, we're now going to have tier 10 mobility all the time. Finally. That means we don't need the mobility mods. Unless they actually allow you to stack past it. Then those mobility mods might have it passed. But I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Increased Hunter default sprint speed from 8 meters per second to 8.6 meters per second. This the passive trait as well. I don't know if this will make a huge difference. I mean, you might feel a little faster, but I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. I could be wrong. We'll see. Hunters now have a 10% bonus to weapon equip speed. So, handling, I'm guessing. I don't know why they just don't say handling, but whatever. They should say 10% to handling. Obviously, that's very based on the weapon, but that could be cool, but at the same time, Hunters jumping get a little bit faster quick speed. I mean, at the same time, we don't have the abilities Ophidians like Warlocks and Titans do in their form of it, so it kind of works out. General, we do, I know, but we have to dodge, whereas everyone else's doesn't have to do anything. They just have to exist. So it's kind of nice, I guess, but whatever. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference either. For some weapons, it might make more than others. We'll see. General, Marksman Dodge, which we knew about, now picks up nearby ammo bricks on activation. Now reloads all weapons on activation. That's pretty crazy. Personally, I think they should just mix Marksman Dodge and Gambler's Dodge into one. I still think that'd be the best option. It just makes sense to me, but we'll see anyways. Strand. This is something I'm excited for because I still love Strand. It's still one of my favorite subclasses. Hallelujah, it's finally getting something. Suspending Slam. No longer increases cooldown duration after use. Hallelujah. That was the biggest issue with it, in my opinion. Let's see. Suspending enemies with Suspending Slam now gives Woven Mail. That's crazy. Duration scales with number of enemies suspended. So finally, Hunters have an ability to get Woven Mail easily. This is crazy. This is actually correct. Especially in PvE, there could be a build for this. Now, it'd be nice if we had, like, you know, Suspending Slam on Prismatic, because then there would really be a build for it. But it's not a horrible thing, so this is pretty good still. Especially for PvP, I'm okay with this. Duration scales of enemies, number of enemies suspended is cracked too, because that means the more you spend, the more bonus you get for longer distance. That's kind of crazy. Threaded Spectre increased fragment slots from 2 to 3. Hallelujah, dude. Threaded Spectre sucks, bro. It's always been, it's 3 and it's, or 2, it sucks. It should be 3. I think this is only for Strand, though. I don't think this will work Prismatic. I don't know. We'll see. But it is nice that it's finally at 3. That way you can actually build more into Prismatic. Or not Prismatic, sorry, Strand. Strand's had the worst build crafting in all. At least it feels that way for me. For at least Hunter. I still don't think this is enough for the Hunter one. The Hunter really needs a lot more tweaking and a lot more fragments or aspects or something that benefit it, because there's a lot of issues with it. You know, new supers would be nice too, or new melees or new grenades. I'm just saying. But it's fine. You know, this is a good start. I'm actually okay with this start. Solar, on your mark, rescaled stack count to a maximum of 10 stacks. Precision hits give 1 stack. Precision final blows give 2 stacks. That's fine. Final blows at the stacks cure the player. At 10 stacks, sorry, to cure the player. I do like this, but at the same time, I'd really prefer how it used to work. Precision final blows at 10 stacks no longer give Radiant. I kind of like that it gave Radiant, because you could then build with solar weapons and create a whole bunch of healing effects and stuff. So I kind of like that, but at the same time, Cure is nice. You can definitely somewhat build into Cure a little bit, so which they probably should tweak a little more. So it's not horrible, it's just not the greatest. I think it should have kept the Radiant effect as well. 2 for 1. I think that'd been a great system, personally. Stacks of on your mark now give weapon stat. Max is 50 weapon stat at 10 stacks. Still grants previous reload benefit. That's crazy. That's fine. I'm fine with that, you know, 50 reload, or 50 weapon stat. If I can get it to 150 weapons, that's 200 weapons. That's crazy. And PvE, that's really good. So, I think they could have honestly scaled it a bit higher. I feel like it's a little bit of a low ball, but at the same time, I think it's fine. I still think it should affect some of the other things too, but you know, they're finally doing changes, and the changes aren't actually bad, so I'm going to take it for now. Deadshot refunds ammo and gun final blows instead of on ignitions. That's crazy. Now extends super duration on final blows. Energy diminishes with final blows. Gains reduced in PvP, obviously. Stasis, Grim Harvest, Stasis Shard. Creation no longer has a cooldown PvE. Okay, Stasis on Hunter is the worst out of all of them. Warlocks is cracked, Titans is cracked, and now Titans getting a buff. I really wish we would have seen something for Hunter here, because the Hunter Stasis sucks. Our melee has been trash forever. They keep tweaking it up and down, and it just never makes it work. So I really, really want them to buff Stasis melee, or just give us a better melee. Better yet, actually, just let it where 2 melees will freeze. The fact that Warlock can freeze and a Titan can freeze, I mean, now the Titan can't freeze, they slow, but still, the Hunter requires 2 melees. Like, that is balanced compared to what the Warlock throws. 1 melee and freezes you. Like, come on. Seriously? And the Titans now, I guess, technically slows, but if you use 2 of them, you can freeze. So, make it like that, you know? Make the Warlock get 2 melees, and if they throw both, it freezes. I'd be fine with that. It'd be a lot better. So, that's my opinion on that, but yeah. Anyways, during our live stream for Renegades and Ashen Iron this week, we mentioned a few other buffs and changes we are exploring. We're still working through the space, and when we have more details, we'll communicate before they go live in Renegades. Yeah, okay, these as a whole are great changes. A lot of them are great. Some of them are kind of iffy, like the Void one for Warlock I think is really dumb for the end ones. The fact Spike Grenade, Suppressor Grenade, and Void Wall Grenade had no changes. Like, Void Wall could have been changed into a pit of despair, basically. Just a big ol' void puddle. A void puddle instead of a wall. That'd been cool. More damage, bigger puddle. Instead of a wall, it'd be a puddle. That'd be kind of cool. Suppressor Grenade, pretty simple. Bigger suppression radius, and then also lasts longer. Simple as that. Spike Grenade, literally just have the Spike Grenade where it's every direction. It's omnidirectional or whatever it's called. Every direction other than behind it, obviously against the wall. But literally all the angles are just covered with a giant wall of just death. That'd be cool. Or make it literally like a wall. It goes down and across. That'd be so cool too. So it'd be like a Void Wall Grenade, but you can throw it on the wall. They really shouldn't do what they're doing there. They should not all be turned to supernovas. That's really dumb in my opinion. I don't like that. But as a whole, the rest of these aren't bad. These changes are pretty cool and unique, and they're good. Some of them definitely need tweaking still, but progress is progress, and at the rate Bungie goes with progress, this is like the best amount of progress we've got in a very long time. So I guess we'll take it, but at the same time, the game is pretty flippin' in the south end of the pool right now, other than the fact Drang and Sturm is broken together, so that's been fun. We did a 5 feet today. That was fun and chaotic. Threw a little bit like always, because, you know, we're the bots we always throw. But other than that, it was pretty fun. Anyways, that's the part we're going to talk about here in this twit. We're just going to talk about the abilities. We'll read more of the twit, and there's another part we want to talk about. We'll make another video. But for now, I felt this was the most important part, which is talking about these ability changes, because they are pretty good. I'm very happy for Strand finally getting something for Hunter. I still think Strand and Stasis are the worst on Hunter, and so is Solar, technically. Those are the 3 worst classes by a mile in the game. Strand, yes, is good, but I'm talking about PvE side, it's trash. PvP, it's good, but it's also just not that great compared to others. A new super or different style super would really help it. And it could be a roaming one, just better. I don't know. I don't hate the super. I like the super. I just feel like there's stuff missing from Strand on Hunter. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as Warlock and Titan. Warlock is all about threadlings and stuff. Titan is all about survivability. What is the Hunter about? And if you say mobility, well, that doesn't mean anything in PvE. You know? Ooh, I can move around more. So, kind of trash. Just saying. Bungie, please change. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe. These are great changes. Thanks, Bungie, for finally doing some of the things we've asked. Obviously, still a lot of tweaking needed to happen, but that's okay. Bungie has proven they want to go one change a year type thing, so I guess that's just how it's going to be. Anyways, enjoy the video, like, subscribe, and comment what you think. Thanks for watching. Adios, we're gone. Bye!